It's time for a new preview. Time for a preview for the game ahead of. Oh, well, very smooth. Time for a preview ahead of the game tomorrow against Preston away. Early kickoff. Can Leeds United break the away? For me, it is a hoodoo. It is a voodoo because we've been dropping too many points away. We'll speak about that. Speak about Danny Farke's comments on Junior Firpo and some interesting comments on Schmidt. Before I get into that, like the video, subscribe, drop your comments and score predictions. We're going to be doing all the preview in this one. Bit of a chaotic time in my household at the minute right now. Everyone seems to be ill. There's a lot going on. So forgive me if I'm a little distracted, but it is, as is all the time. We get on with things, don't we? And listen, shout out to everyone that's come back as well. There's been a few people that have rejoined the membership, and I really do appreciate that, especially at this time of year, with it being so close to Christmas. Thank you to you. Thank you to all existing members. If you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Speaking of which, by the way, talk about this close to Christmas. I don't know if anyone else has been trying to get WWE tickets for the UK tour next year. What they think we're made of, you know what I mean? Combo tickets, no. I'm gonna wait for the single tickets to be released, and if they're still very high, then we always got Netflix, right? We'll just watch that thing on Netflix. But listen, salute to everybody, man. Annabelle in the house, Russ in the house. Salute to you all. And look, yeah, we're gonna go. I'm gonna try and keep this low today. I always say this. I'm gonna try and keep it low, but we shall see. And shout out to you, Simon. I hope you're well, man. Curtis in the house saying here, good to catch you live, KG. Always catch your videos. WWE tickets are at least $250. Yeah, they're only releasing like the premium seats and the ringside seats, and I'm like, hey, buddy, I don't need to be that close, you know what I mean? Some insane prices. I remember going to an event back in I think it was like 2008 or 2009, and the pricing that it is now for the nosebleeds is kind of the price it was, and probably even less than it would be to get closer to the ring. It's insane now, but you know what I mean? It's all good. It's all good. Chris in the house saying here, finished work just in time for the live. Salute to you, Chris. Let's go. One for you, KG. Mourinho, Wolves, or Millwall? What? One for you, Mourinho, Wolves, or Millwall? Chris, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe you can reword it. What you asking me here? What do I prefer? I don't know. I don't know what you're asking here. But look, let's get into it, man. Danny Farke on team news. There's going to be a few question marks ahead of the game, and I'm going to make my first 11 just based on what I think could possibly happen in terms of everything. He did say that Verba's knee was swollen, but it's gone down a bit. Sam Byram's had cramps. Jaden Bogle has improved and will be in contention, which for me probably means that he'll start. But there's a few bumps and bruises. There was a bit of talk today overall about the scheduling in terms of early kickoffs, but I've said this before. If you're at Leeds United, you got to expect that we're going to be moved for TV more often than not. If it's not for you, go and manage Plymouth, go and manage one of those teams, man, because when you're at Leeds, it's going to be the case that we are going to have games moved for TV, whether it's late night, whether it's early morning or early afternoon. We're one of those teams. And it's not just, this isn't just on Farke. I said the same thing for Jurgen Klopp when he's at Liverpool, always moaning about the 12:30 kickoff. If you're a TV company, you're going to choose, if you can't get Man United, you're going to choose Liverpool next. You know what I mean? That's the way it goes. That's what happens when you're at teams with large fan bases or who get high viewership. So for me, it's all about how they prepare in terms of the game tomorrow against Preston. Sheffield United play literally, an hour and a half later in the day against Plymouth. We've got to be ready to go. We can't look the way that we've looked in other away games where it looks like we just rolled out of bed onto the pitch. We have to be better, and I think we will be. Hopefully. Oh, Chris saying here, which would he choose? Linked to both. Mourinho is not linked to Millwall. Come on, man. Chris, be serious. And Russ is saying no excuses tomorrow. We've had an extra day's rest. Russ, I'm going to bring up Preston's team, and even if we played just last night, I still don't think there's any excuses for tomorrow, but we'll get into that in just a bit. So moving on to the next bit, he was asked about Ethan Ampadu, of course, because he did return this week, and I've got to have a glaring admission for myself. I didn't even realize something in the game, but I'll speak about it when we talk about Schmidt in just a moment. But Ampadu, Farke did say he's the most important player, his captain. He did say that, but it doesn't mean he can play every minute just yet. He needs to shake off the rust, but he's in contention. And that's basically what I said in terms of Ampadu. He's building up his match fitness again. Somebody said he didn't look the same player. Well, I said, yeah, he's been out for a while and he's returned sooner than we even thought. So It was a good thing to see him back. And Farke interestingly said it's not a headache for him to have another midfielder in there. He says it's more of a headache when there's more players missing. So it's going to be interesting to see how he divvies up the time when Ampadu is fully fit, and it will be interesting to see who drops out. I know a few of you have said, why can't we just play the three midfield? I like to introduce you to Daniel Farke, people, if you haven't met him already. We're not playing three in midfield because that will just mean we have to change something in the formation. And as you've seen, people, we don't do that during the season. We did it in pre-season, but we have not done it in the season. You know, we've never started with three in midfield this season so far. We've never started with two up front. So I think it's a case of somebody will have to drop out and move to the bench once Ampadu is up and running and in full health and full fitness. There was a question. I mean, listen, people, we are going for automatic promotion. And with all due respect, I don't know why the journalist wasted near 3-4 minutes on asking about Alex Kearns. Maybe it's Alex Kearns' friend who's got a reporter there. Just absolutely pointless. And I watched this one live, so I couldn't even skip it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, Alex Kearns, really? Is that what we're asking about? Why don't we ask about the tea lady and how influential she is behind the scenes and all that? It's just insane. So we move on from that. But what I didn't notice, people, yeah, you know what? I'll say I didn't notice in the game. And I don't know how I didn't notice, but Ampadu, when he came on at right back. I did notice that, but it didn't click to me that we still had Schmidt on the bench. It did not even register to me. I didn't even consider it. And this wasn't in the pre-match press conference. This was maybe yesterday or the day before, but this was via Bering Cross and their report. But Farke was asked about Ampadu at right back and in Schmidt's place, because obviously Ampadu comes on. Schmidt did come on for, like, you know, garbage minutes towards the end, just for some charity minutes. But the thing is, what Farke said about Schmidt, and I know a couple of you have said it yourself, so salute to you, but it does seem that he sees Isaac Schmidt more as a winger. And he said in the game, look, it was a competitive game. I needed more defensive solidarity, and Verba and Byron were more defensively minded. So I needed to match that. That's why I put Ampadu at right back. When I've used Schmidt, he's come on in all positions, but I like to use him as a winger. So that is very, very interesting in terms of what we've spoken about, because we were all led to believe that, yes, we know that Schmidt can play all kind of positions, but we thought that he was going to be brought in as Junior Firpo's understudy. Well, it doesn't look like that's the case. Now, I just wonder if that does lead to a January opening for a new left back to be brought in. The only thing I would say is that we got Firpo, we've got Verba, we also have Byram and of course Bogle. So that would be your four fullbacks. But we know that we sign fullbacks that don't like to stay healthy. I mean, that's just the way it is. Look at all the troubles we have. I'm going to put up my two fullbacks in my preferred 11, but there's a chance that one of them probably doesn't even make it tomorrow, so it means the third one will have to come in. We just always seem to have problems at especially more so at left fullback. But it was very, very interesting that he considers more Schmidt as an attacking force rather than a defensive one. So it just begs the question, doesn't it? Why was Isaac Schmidt signed? Like, who did the research on that? And maybe it does coincide with all of the changes in the recruitment department and everything else like that, because he was signed as a fullback. Now, we know what can happen here, and it would not surprise you if you heard this come the end of January when the window's closed. It wouldn't surprise you if we then hear at the end of the window him asked about the fullback if we don't bring another one in. Danny Farke will just come out and say, well, we've got Firpo, we've got Verba, we've got Byron, we've got Bogle, and we've got Schmidt to play fullbacks. It would not surprise you, even though he has literally just said, you know, that he sees Schmidt more of an attacking force. But we've seen this before when it comes to managers. They do protect the club in that way. I guess that's part of their job. But he will say that Schmidt is a fullback option. But he's basically saying, and this is why it has been it been no coincidence that even when we have fullbacks out, Schmidt is not even in the picture. He was not even in the picture. And even in that last bit where he was a little bit injured, I don't think he would have started anyway. Very interested, man. Rusty is saying he definitely seems to be a more attack-minded. Yeah, I mean, I see that as well, but I just thought it would be from a fullback position. But clearly there's something in his game that he sees in training where Farke is thinking, yeah, you're not for me defensively. So yeah, we shall see with that one. But I thought it was very interesting, and it does beg a question, or it does make sense as to why we've been linked with so many left backs during the last month alone. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on that one for January for sure, for sure. So next one is talking of fullbacks. He was asked about Junior Firpo's contract, and it was an interesting one in terms of the way that he answered this. It kind of reminded me either of being nonchalant, as in like, yeah, we're not worried about it, making Firpo and his side sweat, or maybe there just is a reluctance to not give Junior Firpo a new contract. I mean, we've already seen a couple of other contracts being run down, whether it be Liam Cooper, obviously Ayling's expired, he moved to Middlesbrough. Who else? Jamie Shackleton. We've seen a lot of that old, regime, move out, and rightly so as well, by the way. And I just wonder, with Danny Farke as well saying today, it was a tough start for Junior when he first come in, but under his regime, he's improved. But what he needs to focus on now is being fully fit. He was then asked about, are you not worried about losing him for free? And Farke rightly said, we're not stupid. We're aware that he can sign a new contract from January. But look, Leeds is a big club. If he doesn't want to be here, if he prefers to be somewhere else, then basically he was saying, so be it. And I just wonder if it's going to be what I've been saying, in that Junior Firpo, because Farke did kind of say it as well, where we're focused on getting promotion. There's games every 2-3 days. There's no time to talk about new contract, which I do disagree with, because let's say we had Erling Haaland in our ranks. Oh, we'd be discussing a new contract, all right. Okay, but let's go with it for this kind of conversation. In terms of that, I just wonder if it is going to be what I've said. We get promoted, Junior Firpo gets a nice move to, back to Europe, wherever that may be, Turkey, Spain, Portugal, wherever it may be, and we move on what we should be doing. Because I do read all your comments, as you guys know, but if we were going by some of you guys' comments, we'd be basically keeping this team in the Prem. And I'll just say this: if we keep this whole team in the Prem, we're going to get relegated with less than the point total we got the last time we got relegated. All right. It would be a disaster. So we do need to make improvements. And I do hope, I'm going to say this, I hope that it wasn't just a bluff from Danny Farke and the club today. I hope it was a sign of, look, we want Junior for this season, but after that, it's best to cut ties. I really do hope it's that. Annabelle here saying, yeah, because thank goodness they must see that he won't work in the Prem. It wouldn't. And there's people that do believe that he will work, but I've got to believe, and again, not trying to be condescending, I've got to believe that they just don't watch Premier League football, or they're overestimating his improvement down at this level. But I'm telling you, when you're not going to have the ball like we are having it in this division, when you're up against the quality of players that we're going to be up against in the Premier League, he's going to get rinsed, man. And you're not going to get the attacking output that you're seeing like we've seen in this calendar year. It's not happening. I mean, if it does happen, we'll have a 60 million pound asset on our hands to sell. It's not going to happen, people. And that's not even a bold prediction. That's just what I think in terms of what I see from Premier League football. You've got to be steady, at least steady in the Premier League. And for me, he's not defensively steady enough. He's not. So it would just be the best thing to have a clean break come the summertime. But like I say, there's some people that can't differentiate the difference between playing well at this level and then thinking that it will translate into the Premier League. It's just two completely different leagues, people. And it's not even like it was close, like it was a few years ago. The division has got even higher. Yeah, Righteous One here saying the fullback positions are the most important for a newly promoted team. Well, this is it, Righteous One. It's not just the fullbacks, Righteous One. We're going to need a goalkeeper. We're going to need a striker. There's a lot that we're going to need to work on when we get to the Premier League. There's a lot of work to do on the team. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So there you go. There's the Firpo stuff, and we shall see if there's anything to that. Because if they do offer him a new contract and he signs it, I got to say I'll be very disappointed. I will, because I don't feel like that's the club doing the best by the club. I think it will be doing the best by the player only, and we won't get anything from it. I think if we go up with Junior Firpo and he performs the way that I believe he will against even some of the meaty Prem wingers, we're not going to get any value back off that contract. That's why I think it would be best. But look, we shall see in time, won't we? But yeah, so let's move on to the game, the game itself. And this one for me, I mean, this is just a very quick one here. This is our home form so far, people. Very good, very good. Top of the home form table. We know what we've been doing at Ellen Road. You know, apart from Portsmouth and Burnley, you know, Portsmouth one unforgivable. Burnley can understand that does happen, but look, we're doing really well. In terms of away, that's got to improve. And Danny Farke was asked about this today, and he says, and I'm trying to paraphrase here. He was basically saying, at home, you know, you're both playing at grass. Away, you're playing on grass. I couldn't disagree more than that. I couldn't disagree more with that kind of thought process. We've seen before how home crowds or home advantage can be to your advantage as the home team, whether it be in football, whether it be hockey, basketball, whatever it may be. You've seen that home court, home field, home pitch. It matters. And it's quite obvious that when we play away, just you only have to look at some of our away performances. They are nothing like what we do at home. Nothing like. It's like night and day. You'd never believe it was the same team. And when you look at our away form, currently right now, we're below Swansea. I mean, we're below them. We're below, you know, s- we're below teams that we shouldn't be below here, people. I'm just gonna just say that. Sheffield United doing what they should be doing home and away. They're currently top. Burnley doing well away, but we're not. We're not doing well away from home. And it doesn't matter who it is. We've lost against Millwall, who Sheffield United dispatched away from home. Who else have we dropped points to? Bristol City. Come on, we've got to be better. And tomorrow is going to be that kind of test. Because tomorrow, for me, like so many people, we should be winning that game. And it's not even close. Let me just show you what Preston are about. I almost fell asleep looking at Preston, doing research for Preston. So boring. Look at this team. And they're not even going to have Sam Greenwood, who's one of our players on loan for him. He obviously can't play for him tomorrow, so that someone else is going to step in. And then you look at their bench. I mean, Robbie Brady's still knocking about. Will Keane, Brad Potts. Hey, listen. And then, if you think their team's uninspiring, been talking about Sunderland being IKEA FC. I mean, Preston could be the weed dispensary, the amount of draws they've had. This is ridiculous. I mean, look, going back to the start of November, a home loss against Bristol City, 0-0 draw with Sunderland, loss against Portsmouth, draw against Derby, draw against Stoke, draw against West Brom, draw against Sheffield Wednesday. And Daniel Farke said that they had a good away win recently, and I thought, all right, let's see who they got it against. Was it against a good team? It's against Cardiff, people, who are all the way in 22nd place. This team stinks. All right, I'm just going to say it to you now. This team absolutely reeks. This is as championship as it gets. But we know what we've been about away from home, and more so in the early kickoffs. We have to eradicate that. We have to get rid of that, get the job done, because Sheffield United play Plymouth tomorrow at home. They're going to win that game. They're going to win that game against Plymouth. So we need to keep up with this team and get the 3 points away from home. Burnley have got a tough one against Norwich. It's time to separate from the pack and just be entrenched in that top two without any doubts. That's what we need to do. Gavin here saying Preston played a day later and had a long journey home, no excuses. I've just shown, listen, in addition to that, Gavin, I've just shown you what they're about. I've just shown you their results. Now, people will say Sunderland got a draw there, etc. We're not Sunderland, and we should be acting accordingly. We should be acting as a team that is better than that. We shouldn't be. If we draw tomorrow, we can't then say, well, look at how many other teams have drawn. No, we're different from the rest of the pack, which is what I've said in terms of our depth in our squad. That's where we differ from all the other teams, and that's where we should differ. So for me, yes, this should be 3 points in the bag. Has to be. It's going to be tough. It's going to be one of those championshipy tough away games. I think they're going to set up with two big blocks. It may not even be the most exciting game, but 3 points is essential. For the team tomorrow, I don't know if this writes itself at this moment in time, but actually it doesn't, because I know somebody earlier said Ramazani to start. But I've gone with Meslier in goal. I'm going to stick with Verba, providing his knee swelling isn't bad. I want to see him get a nice run of games, get used to the rigors of first team football again for both him and for the team. And if he's fit enough to go, I'm putting Verba at left back. And if Bogle's ready to go, I'm going Bogle right back. And if one of those two aren't ready to go and Sam can play, then obviously Sam Byram starts. I think, that's what I would do. And for me, like I said, I think Byron was the best defender in the last game. But as we saw, he come off late in the game due to whatever it was, cramp injury, and we do have to manage him. That's the way it has to be with Sam. So I don't think we can play him in this game. But if Verba and Bogle are ready to go, it's them. Yeah, and Paul Heckingbottom is their manager. I mean, come on. Come on. Anyway, moving up the pitch, obviously Strout Rodon writes itself. I'm sticking with Rothwell and Tanaka in midfield. Still don't think Ampadu is ready to start yet, but I do think he'll probably get a few more minutes tomorrow. But yeah, listen, Rothwell, Tanaka, no need to get rid of that. And plus, Rothwell will be needed for the set pieces against that kind of Preston team. Going to give us the edge in that department. So yeah, writes itself in central midfield. The front four, maybe this is where we'll have a difference of opinion. But Nanto for me goes again. Keep him rolling. Dan James, absolutely keep him rolling as long as he's fit and firing, ready to go. And I would stick with Brendan Aronson in there. I don't think Brendan Aronson needs a rest at this point. Maybe he just went off the boil for a couple of games. But Brendan Aronson, I think especially in this kind of game as well, where we'll need to move around the Preston defense, he's probably one of the better ones to do it. Which, of course, means, people, that I'm leaving here Solomon, Ramazani on the bench. It's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad when you look at it. And I'm sticking with Mateo Joseph up front. Give him another game, give him another run out, give him another chance to score. He may get some joy as well in this kind of game away from home. So yeah, I'm sticking with Mateo Joseph up front. And listen, Peru did well when he came on a sub again, didn't score, but providing an assist. Let's keep that running. Keep it running. Give Mateo the chance to get his confidence back up. Give him some chances to get some goals. And I would run with that, people. What say you? Oh, Reese here. There we are. Get Peru in. We need a clinical finisher on the pitch. I would say Nanto is pretty clinical. Reese, I got to say, I do think he's pretty clinical. I almost said something else there. Trigger Happy here saying here, am I the only one that thinks Ramazani would do a better job than Aronson in the 10, pace and defensive, and can hit a ball from distance, unlike Aronson? Yeah, Trigger, listen, I don't know about in the 10. I think I would probably prefer Solomon in the 10. I think Ramazani is much more effective playing from the left and cutting inside. I think he excels in that. But we've seen Ramazani drop into the 10 and also create something for Nanto previously. So it's not out the realm of a possibility, but that's what I mean. There are options that we've got there. And I'm not against Ramazani in the 10. I'd probably go with Solomon over him first and put Ramazani out on the wing, though, for me. Yeah, Annabelle here saying he's got to give Ramazani some good minutes tomorrow, though. Yeah, Annabelle, that was something else, and something else that didn't register with me. Ramazani didn't even get on the pitch in the last game. Nothing at all. So whether that's just because the game was wrapped up and there's no need to even risk him after him coming back from a little injury, from his injury, I should say. Very interesting. He didn't even come on the pitch. So yeah, I would like to see Ramazani back as well, because we've seen with Ramazani, man, he's very, very good, very effective. And as the previous comment said, he's good at his defensive work as well, but he gives you something a little bit different up front in comparison to the other players. So yeah, it's a good, for me, it's a great headache to have. It really is a good headache. And I'm not against any kind of selections that anyone's got. So if you've got anything different, please leave them in the comments. So score predictions tomorrow. I'm going with a very, very comfortable 2-0 Leeds United victory. I think we keep a clean sheet on the road and we get goals. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be probably a drab affair, and that's due to Preston and the way that they approach games, or how they will have to approach the game. I think it's going to be one of those, but you get the win, get out of there, and see what Sheffield United do against Plymouth later. So what say you, people? What say you? Reese is going 3-0 to Leeds. That would be nice. Marcus is going 2-1 to Leeds. Okay, yep. Like that. Oh, Reese was saying here, just like, okay, right, yeah. Annabelle saying, yeah, same, 2-0 to Leeds. Yeah, listen, I'd be very surprised if anyone thinks Preston's going to get something tomorrow. They shouldn't. And that's the difference between being just a playoff team and also just being a team that is going to be in the top two and never look back. And that's what we need to do, people. That's what we got to do. Darren here saying here, sorry, Darren going 3-0, Andy going 3-0, Gavin going 4-0. That would be nice, Gavin. Russ going 3-1. Reese saying here the Sheffield United Plymouth game could be a cricket score. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to hammer them. I don't. I know Sheffield United got a few players out. I just find it very difficult to see them losing at Bramall Lane against Plymouth. I find it very difficult to see it. It would be great if it does happen, but I wouldn't hold your breath, people. I wouldn't hold your breath. Paul here saying here we have a lot of flexible players who can play different positions, so the opposition never know what team we're going to pick. Yeah, I mean, Paul, that's exactly right. We've got players that can play out on the through the central. We've definitely got an abundance of left wingers. I mean, that goes without saying. Ramazani, Nanto, Solomon. James obviously is our one out and out right winger, but we know Aronson could play out there. Nanto can drift out there sometimes, you know. So yeah, there are all kinds of options. Sometimes James moves in from the left to cut inside. We have got a lot of options in terms of that. And if we had, you know, the scope is there to play two up front when we're not losing, but we know that we only ever get to see Peru and Joseph up front when we're chasing the game. So there are definitely options in there. That's why it's just great to choose from, isn't it? Really. Reese is asking who Burnley have got. They've got Norwich, Reese. They've got Norwich. Let me just get the fixtures here just before we close. Oh no, that's not good. Let me get okay, championship fixtures, of course. Where have they got them though? Yeah, okay, let me share this. They've got them away. They've got them away. So there you go. I mean, that's, you know, again, if Burnley are looking for top two aspirations, even though it's a tough game, they'll be looking to win that one. They'll be very disappointed after drawing at home to Derby. I mean, that's a terrible result, absolutely terrible. But that's what I'm saying. Win tomorrow, it gives you a chance to pull away, and that's what we need to do. So that is it for the preview, people. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything out. I don't think I have. Have I covered everything? I have. I will be back straight after the game tomorrow live. So if you want to join me for the match reaction, hit the notification bell on the next video. I've already got it up. So if you want to click the bell to remind you and join me then, please do so. If you haven't already liked the video, drop your thoughts, comments below on team selections, Isaac Schmidt, Junior Firpo, and the score predictions. And I'll see you tomorrow after the game, people. Peace out.